What is going on, guys? Supcharls here. Today I'm talking about my thoughts about E3, which is for this video gonna be about EA's and Microsoft press conferences. For the next video or two, depending on whenever I now upload my next commentary, I'm gonna talk about Sony's and Ubisoft at that time. But as it is right now, I decided to split it up because it ended up being too long, my final version where I talked about all of the press conferences. So without further ado, let me start off with EA Play, because they were the first one obviously, and started off with a Battlefield 1 map pack trailer, which I thought was interesting, and it was also expected. I don't really know how it's gonna be and when it released and all that stuff, because I don't really play Battlefield 1. I don't own it, and I don't really plan to get it anytime soon unless I really see a cheap price for it, then I might pick it up. But as an overall thing, I still thought that the trailer looked really interesting, and that was one of the things that they showed which at least had my interest, because EA barely showed any new games or anything at all. But next up, they also showed some FIFA 18. They didn't even show any gameplay, I'm pretty sure, but it was more cutscenes or something like that, where they also announced that the journey would come back, which I really like, and I look forward to see how that's gonna go, because I thought it was a pretty nice idea to have that in FIFA 17, but I wasn't really sure if I wanted to get it last year, and I never really did. They also had EA Originals or something like that, where they basically showcased one game, which was A Way Out, and it was apparently also the only game that was the most interesting one for me personally, in terms of something new and exciting, and it looks pretty good. It reminded me of Uncharted 4 for some reason, and apparently I wasn't the only one when I looked up at Twitter afterwards. And there are even some comparisons of one of the main characters in A Way Out, where they compare one of the guys, or compared the cover with Nathan Drake, and then just made Nathan Drake's nose more pointy and stuff like that, or big, so that it would look like the character from A Way Out, and it really looks like it, to be honest. But I'm glad I ain't the only one who bought that, but I still look forward to it. It's a split screen co-op game only, or not only split screen, but it is a co-op only game, which I thought is pretty interesting, and I just really look forward to try it out someday when it comes out. So that was A Way Out. Next up is also a new IP from BioWare, which is Anthem, and it was also showed at Xbox press conference with gameplay, and at EA Play it was really quickly a sneak peek, I'm pretty sure it was. It looked pretty good, and I thought it really looked stunning, and I really think I might consider getting it. And now that I am talking about it, and since it also was in Microsoft or Xbox press conference, I'm gonna talk about it later, might as well just get it over with now with Anthem at least. So the gameplay they showed at Xbox press conference also was really good looking. I really thought it reminded me of Horizon Zero Dawn, and it was more in terms of the environments and stuff like that with the jungle, and the gameplay looks more fun, I guess, in some ways, because I like that you can fly around, because in Horizon Zero Dawn you can only ride a machine, or you can run all the way or fast travel or something like that, but you can't really fly around or something like that, because well, the technology isn't really there for you as a human, I guess. Only for the machines it's available if you are I guess a Stormbird or a Glint Hawk or whatever. So yeah, I think Anthem looks really good, and I look forward to see more of it. But with that out of the way, also want to mention that EA did give out EA Access or Origin Access or whatever it's called, the Origin Vault, and to PS4 owners some free trials for games while we were celebrating E3, I guess you could say. And yeah, it was pretty nice, I guess, to see that. I don't really need any of these benefits because I already own the EA games I want mostly, and the ones they offered weren't really something that I thought was interesting anyway. But for those that haven't tried it out or wanted to try it out, I guess it was a nice gesture from EA. I don't really know if it's over or not, because I didn't really look into it, but I just thought it was a cool thing for them to give a trial while E3 was taking place, so that was pretty cool. They also had something with charity really quickly mentioned and all that stuff, with anti-bullying and all those things, which I thought was pretty cool. And yeah, that's about it, I guess. They didn't really do much else, but it was pretty fun to see that guy, I'm pretty sure his name was Andrew Wilson or something like that, when he actually was on stage and just expected people to clap. But no, that was a pretty fun moment for me. And also with Need for Speed Payback, when that Jesse Wellens, I think it was, that dude really just messed up the presentation, I guess. That was also pretty funny, but of course it happens, I guess. I don't really know what to say, but it was nonetheless funny. And last but not least is Star Wars Battlefront 2, because they spent most of their time talking about Star Wars Battlefront 2, and it was pretty cool from what I saw. It is apparently gonna be 3 times bigger than Battlefront 1, which I thought was pretty cool, but at the same time, from what I do know, Battlefront isn't really the biggest game out there in terms of content and stuff like that, so I kind of wonder how big it really is. And it also has a class system with battle points of some sort. I'm not really sure how that's gonna work out, but from what I saw during that live gameplay they showcased was that it was gonna be like Homefront's multiplayer, where you earn some points throughout a match and then you can spend it during that match on a vehicle or well, in this case with Star Wars, maybe a hero token or whatever, where you can spawn as a hero. I don't know how it works. Or it could also be like Call of Duty Black Ops 1 method, where you get some points, you use those points to basically unlock weapons or gear or whatever there now is. I don't really know. That could also be an option, but I hope it will be like Homefront 1's multiplayer with the way you unlock things. So yeah, that's that. Free content is also something that Star Wars Battlefront 2 will give. There's not gonna be any season pass or anything like that from what I understood as well. That is also really cool, because I thought it was a pretty expensive price for the season pass in Battlefront 1 when it barely had any content in the first place. So it's cool to see that Battlefront 2 will get free content. It will also have a story campaign this time around, which is also really cool. Something I also really quickly noticed during that live gameplay they showcased was that I was really wondering how the hitboxes or hit detection or whatever you can call it is gonna turn out to be when you're playing as a drone or a robot or something like that compared to a stormtrooper, because since those robots are skinny and they don't have a body type like a stormtrooper, I wonder how the hitboxes is gonna turn out to be on those drones or robots when you play as them, because it's the same thing with something like Call of Duty, for example, or another game where you can play as a male or a female character online. I usually play with a female if I can, just because I feel like when I play as a female character in a online shooter or whatever, I feel like it's harder for the enemies to hit me, because usually the female characters, from my experience in, for example, Titanfall 2, Call of Duty, Advanced Warfare, and Ghost and stuff like that, they have a more skinny body type in general, and it means that for me, I kind of feel like it's harder to hit me compared to playing as a male soldier, and that is why I usually rock with the female soldiers if I can, and if I see a difference in body type, and sometimes they might not have, like in Black Ops 3, you don't really see a huge difference there, so I just play with different specialist abilities there or weapons. I wonder, for example, in this upcoming COD with World War II, for example, will the female soldiers have a difference? And obviously I doubt this is a thing that even matters in games in general. I just like to believe that it is a little bit harder to hit me when I play with a person who is a little bit more skinny and a little bit more hard to hit, I guess you could say. So that's why I play as a female soldier sometimes, if you wonder or see me do that. Like a placebo effect, I guess you could say. And it's even the same with FMJ attachment, because it doesn't improve damage when you have it equipped, but what it does is help you get better bullet penetration when you shoot through walls, and that's about it. So there is no damage buff really, at least in Call of Duty. So that is an attachment that I like to use just for the placebo effect right there, because it makes me believe that it deals more damage and stuff like that. But anyways, with that said, I think I have pretty much covered all the games that they showcased, except maybe quickly NBA Live 18, which will have a demo or something like that. The stats will carry over to the full game. That's the only thing I thought was cool. I don't really have an interest in it because I'm not a basketball interested person, and also because NBA 2K is the game that you go to when you want to play a basketball game from my knowledge. So I don't have a huge interest there, but other than that, nothing else was shown at EA Play's conference. It was a really lackluster conference in terms of games. I think they showed around 6 or something like that, and most of the time it was even just Battlefront 2. So yeah, really boring conference. It was a disappointment from last year and so on. I was actually more excited about it last year and 2 years ago than I was this year, and this is actually something in general. E3 wasn't as I'd hoped this year as it was last year, for example, or 2 years ago. But yeah, it is what it is. Now moving on to Microsoft and their E3 press conference, because obviously they had a huge thing with the Project Scorpio and all those things, like new games they could show to really hype up the console, I guess. And I also really was hyped for this press conference, because I have considered to get an Xbox One someday, and more specifically Scorpio, because it has my interest and stuff. But first of all, they talked about Scorpio to begin with, and the Project Scorpio was called the Xbox One X, and I don't really like that name, to be honest, because it's way too similar to the One S, and I thought they should have just found another word. I don't really know if Scorpio was a word they could use. I remember reading something like it was hard to get the legal rights to that or something like that, but doesn't matter. Basically, I just had hoped that they would name it something else, because Xbox One S and Xbox One X is really close to each other, and I don't really know if I'm a big fan of that name decision that they took. But I still look forward to see it and how it's gonna be with some games that I have interest in the Xbox, for example Sunset Overdrive or something like Cuphead, because I look forward to those two games mainly on Xbox. But yeah, it is what it is. The design itself on the console is also something I don't like, because it's way too similar to the Xbox One S. And while I do like the One S design, I thought that they should try and make a new design or something like that, because it essentially looks like a clone. I mean, it's a black console, while the One S is white, at least when it comes to standard. And I just don't really like that, because they basically just got rid of the holes up on the top of the console and just gone with a normal black finish up there, which is pretty nice, I guess. I don't know, but I'd hope they would do a new design, maybe add another USB port on the front, because apparently it still has one from what I saw, and I'm not a big fan of that either. Also, the disk drive is also placed underneath that upper part of the console, which is something that I thought didn't make any sense. They should have just done it like the Xbox One S there, to me, in my opinion. But yeah, it is what it is. I guess to change up the design a little bit, they had to do that. What I did like about this console though is that it's smaller, or it's the smallest Xbox One S or Xbox console, already messing it up. It is also in black, which I think is a really cool thing, because obviously I'm not a huge fan of, well, you viewers don't know, but I'm not a huge fan of white consoles, for example, or a green one or blue one or red or whatever. I usually prefer black colored electronics in general, actually, with my phone, with my console, or whatever. And that is something that I've always preferred, basically because I grew up with it like that, I guess. I don't really know, but I just don't like the white colored consoles and stuff like that, and which is why I actually had hoped that they would someday launch a black version of a Xbox One S, but so far they haven't, so maybe in the future, I don't know. And that is the console itself. They actually revealed the price later on during the conference, which is $499, which is no surprise by now, hopefully, because I'm pretty late with this commentary. And they started off with showing Metro Exodus, which is a game that I thought looked really stunning and amazing. It is a game that I look forward to try out also, because I actually have had an interest in Metro Redux and stuff like that with the collection there on PS4. Never got it though, because I didn't have the money, and when I did, I always just wanted to buy another game, so I never got that game. But Metro Exodus looks really cool, looks much more beautiful than the two past games, obviously, because they were, after all, for the last generations of consoles. And yeah, it looks awesome. Can't wait to see more of it. Minecraft also was something that they revealed would have crossplay with PC, Nintendo Switch, and tablets and phones and stuff like that, where they would unite the players, which is pretty cool. PlayStation didn't want that, or Sony didn't want that, so they are not gonna be included there. But I still think it's awesome to see that crossplay is coming for Minecraft, even though I don't like it. And also, a funny quote I heard Phil Spencer say after they announced that Minecraft would be having a 4K update or something like that for the One X. I'm not really sure with One S and stuff like that, but basically Minecraft would come in 4K, which I didn't understand, because I don't really know how you can see a difference in Minecraft, at least with 4K and 1080p or something like that. But it is what it is. If it's 4K, I guess it's great. But what I found funny was that when Phil Spencer said afterward that he was blown away basically by this Minecraft in 4K, which I thought was really weird, because it's not gonna look more beautiful. Well, it might be looking better, I guess, in really small differences in terms of blocks, I guess. I don't know, but I just found it funny, because I don't understand how you can see that upgrade there with Minecraft, at least as an example. So yeah, that was a funny moment there. Anyways, moving on, there's also the new Dragon Ball Z game, which came out, or it's not out yet, but it got revealed at the Microsoft E3 conference, obviously, and it looks pretty solid, I guess. I really look forward to try it out, but I'm not really sure if I want to get it, because I prefer 3D fighting like Xenoverse or Budokai Tenkaichi and stuff like that. And also because the only 2D fighting game from Dragon Ball I liked was Budokai 3, and that game doesn't look like this current Fighter Z game will live up to, I guess, in terms of expectations from me at least. And that is because when you hit someone, it looks like there's a little bit of a delay or some sort. I don't really know how to explain it, but it just looks Like, it isn't as smooth as something like in Budokai Freeway, which just hit the enemy and stuff like that. But I still look forward to see a little bit more and try out the demo or beta when that comes, and would have preferred to see a Xenoverse 3 personally. But anyways, moving on is also something that I noticed during this press conference as a whole. When I watched it, I noticed a lot of exclusive sound effects. It was really annoying because I also noticed it last year. I wasn't a big fan of them always saying that exclusive sound all the time just because they had an exclusive thing. I mean, I thought they would get rid of it, but nope. I hope they will just basically write it as a little text as they already do now and just play it afterwards. I don't really see why they would play that exclusive sound effect all the time or whatever. It's really annoying, to me at least personally. And it's also the same with world premiere and stuff like that. And I even watched a video with E3 2017 in a nutshell where they basically also someone found all the sections where it was set, and it was really a lot from what I also noticed there, so I wasn't the only one who noticed it, and I really think they should stop doing it. It's really annoying. And anyways, moving on, Cuphead is also something that was shown there really quickly to reveal the release date of the game, and it will come out on September 29th, which is awesome. I look forward to that, so hopefully it will be a good game. And hopefully I won't be disappointed, but as it is right now, it looks amazing and it looks really fun. It's co-op as well, so hopefully it won't turn out to be a bad game. Then there's also Hello Neighbor, which is a indie game, and it was shown at this indie trailer thing with a lot of indie games mixed together in one trailer for like a few minutes. And this Hello Neighbor game really looked cool for me, even though it was like a few seconds of it. And it had my interest. I don't really know if it's gonna be on PC or PlayStation, or if it's already out on PC, I don't even know. But basically, it looks pretty cool, so I might look into more of that game in the future. Life is Strange is also something that was shown at this press conference, which is awesome. I was really hyped when I saw it because I expected it to not be shown there, because I remember them saying they wouldn't show Life is Strange, but maybe I remember wrong. I don't know. But point is, they showed Life is Strange Before the Storm, which is basically a prequel to Life is Strange with Chloe instead as the character you'll play as. And I look forward to see how the story is gonna unfold. I've already pre-ordered the deluxe edition, I'm pretty sure it was called, where you basically get a extra bonus episode where you see Max and Chloe before she moved to some other place or something like that. I really remember what it said, but basically you get a bonus episode and you also probably get something else, I don't know. But I look forward to this Life is Strange obviously, and I hope it will also get a physical release like the first game, because I actually would love to have that as a physical game collecting thing as well, and hopefully it will have a limited edition thing. But yeah, anyways, the first episode will come out in August 31st. That's about it. There's also original Xbox backwards compatibility coming, which is awesome. I don't really have an Xbox original, and I never really owned one in the past, so I don't have any games to play, but I think it's awesome to see that Microsoft is bringing back these backwards compatibility features, because obviously Sony can't do it, and I don't really know with Nintendo because I don't really have much knowledge there with their games and stuff, but I would assume it's only Microsoft and obviously PC that is, I guess, backwards compatible. But then again, you don't really have to worry about those things on PC. But yeah, anyways, it's cool to see that nonetheless, and hopefully on this next generations of consoles, PlayStation and Nintendo would also maybe do that. Then there isn't really much else in terms of Microsoft press conference. They also revealed or said that they would show 42 games, where 22 of those games would be console exclusives, and most of them are actually just console launch exclusives from what I also noticed. Not too many exclusives specifically for Xbox only, which I had hoped, because I could just get some of those games on PC at the end of the day. So I was a little let down there, but then again, I don't mind it. There is still some certain games I want to try out, like Sunset, as I mentioned before, and yeah, that's great, I guess. So they also really quickly, because I forgot to mention that before, since I don't have a huge interest in it, Assassin's Creed Origins, which is set in Egypt, really reminds me of Horizon Zero Dawn in terms of the HUD at least, which is also really something that got me interested a little bit, because the game actually looks really beautiful in terms of graphics. I don't really know how it's gonna turn out when it comes out, because Ubisoft have in the past downgraded their games here and there, so I don't really know how this is gonna turn out, but as it is right now, it looks really beautiful. I kind of look forward to it, and maybe I'll consider getting it. But with that said, this is all that I've really noticed from Xbox press conference or Microsoft. It was really a solid one, and I really thought it was one of the better ones, but I did not really get amazed too much, because games they showed and stuff like that wasn't really anything new, I guess you could say. It's the same thing with EA and same thing with Sony, and Ubisoft as well. I mean, most of these games they showed this year was actually not too much that I got excited about compared to last year. So hopefully next year, or in a upcoming gaming event like Gamescom, if there's gonna be press conference there. I know, for example, with PlayStation Experience, I would assume there's gonna be much, because maybe they'll save some games there to announce for the fans that wants to join this event instead. But so far, Microsoft did a great job, and yeah, that's about it, I guess. So it took a while. It has taken over 30 minutes if it's raw and uncut. Obviously, I had some mistakes which I'll cut out. So you viewers hopefully will see around 20 minutes of commentary or whatever. So you viewers will probably see a much shorter version, hopefully. I'm gonna at least try to cut it and make it as short as possible. And so hopefully you viewers enjoyed this video, and hopefully I will see you viewers on the next one, where I'll be talking about Ubisoft and Sony's press conference at the E3.